Another Brick fan with a BrickHeadz set from the Disney Pixar movie Wall-E. This is Eve and Wall-E. This is set 40619, was released in March 2023. It has 155 pieces and cost about $20 when it was released. This is one of several Disney BrickHeadz sets released in 2023, and these two are from the Pixar movie Wall-E, as I mentioned. Both of these look great, and I'm excited to get them built, so let's get that done and then take a look at the finished BrickHeadz. Here are the finished BrickHeadz with Wall-E here on the left and Eve on the right. I think they both turned out really nicely. It would have been interesting to see them. It would have been nice to have had like one of these pieces that opens. They have had BrickHeadz that have done that in the past. So like Eve here was supposed to carry vegetation, and Wall-E kind of stored stuff in his little area here, but they are very small and I think they still look great. So let's take a look at each of them individually. I think Wall-E turned out really nicely. You can see that he's got this good print for that designates who he is. Of course, Wall-E is an acronym that stands for Waste Allocation Load Lifter Earth Class, for the E at the end. And here he has his plant that he found in the shoe, and then this is the toolbox that he carried around. I love the great big eyes here. The head looks really good, and it's on this little friction joint so it can be moved around a little bit. Have Wall-E look up and forward and perhaps down just a little bit as well. So a little bit of movement there. Looking around to the side, you can see, let me get this plant out of the way. You can see that the treads that he has were designed with these slopes here, these little sloped vents, which make it look like those triangular treads that Wall-E used. So I thought that was very clever use of pieces to do that. The back of Wall-E is extremely plain, just this orange color. The other side is just done with that same tread design look. Then his arms are both facing forward that allow him to carry his little two accessories. This right here is kind of his control panel, I guess you could call it, where he had the tape recorder and maybe some other stuff in there. So really good representation of Wall-E. He's very small, but I think they nailed all the major details around Wall-E. Let's take a look at Eve. Here is Eve, or EVE for Extraterrestrial Vegetation Evaluator. It was Eve's job to come down to Earth to see if any vegetation had started growing again, to make sure to see if Earth was habitable again. Really fun how these two characters got together. Very little talking in this movie, but it was really a fun movie to watch, and I think they did a wonderful job with the story. Eve is a pretty simple looking robot. Now she does have a hover functionality, so no wheels. They represent that by using that clear Lego piece to give her the look like she's floating in the air, which I thought was good. I like the black face, the kind of light blue eyes worked out really well. Her arms here show pretty nicely. Now, if I remember from the movie, they really compacted in or just connected into Eve, and then she just popped them out when she needed to use them. And these could be placed in different orientation. If you wanted to put them forward, you could. So if you want to kind of customize the look of your brickhead, you can certainly do that. If you notice during the build, there is actually a piece of vegetation inside, but there's no way to get to it or see it unless you actually take the brickhead apart, which is a little unfortunate. I remember like Homer Simpson, for example, had a little drawer that, you know, his front section pulled out and you could see like he had a donut in there. I think it would have been fun to have done the same kind of thing with Eve here. It is white all the way around, very smooth. Again, accurate to Eve, the character, but it's going to pick up a lot of dust, kind of like all black figures do. There is a little bit, you notice they use clear pieces here to separate the head from the body, which once again give it that kind of that floating or not quite connected appearance, which also I think is pretty accurate to the movie. So a good representation of Eve here. Overall, two very nice brickheads. I like these two together in a set. I really like the way they put Wall-E together, nice and colorful with the little accessories that go with him. Eve is very nice, although one of the cool features about Eve is hidden. It's certainly done as an Easter egg when you build it, putting that little flower piece in there, that, you know, rounded flower petal piece inside. But again, that's hidden away. You have to take her apart to actually see that. Value for these brickheads is pretty good. This is one of the rare brickhead sets that comes with less than 200 pieces, so it's higher than that 10 cent per piece benchmark. Although being consistent with brickheads, they have the same price they've always had, right? They are for full-size brickheads, which I think Wall-E's kind of in between the full and half size. Regardless, these I think would be considered two full-size brickheads, so $20 has always been the price for two full-size brickheads. So I really appreciate the fact that they haven't raised the price of brickheads, and I still think that they're a very good value. Hope you've enjoyed my thoughts on this brickhead set. I'm going to get started on my next video. And until then, happy building. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe to see more of my LEGO reviews. I've left a link to my Brickhead review playlist up here on the screen.